Okay, welcome everybody. It's 1 o'clock, so we want to get going right away here. Welcome everyone that's here. We're glad you could join us this afternoon. Today's topic is avoiding manufacturing's biggest marketing mistakes with Lori Highby, owner of TDMAW sponsor company Keystone Click. I am Laura Gustafson, TDMAW Executive Director, and I will be your host today. We would like to thank all our partners and sponsors for their ongoing support of our industry and association, and they help us bring meaningful and fun meetings and events to our members throughout the year. Their logos are displayed on your screen right now, so take a moment to look it over and keep them top of mind when you're looking for someone to assist you in your businesses. During Lori's presentation, you will be able to ask questions by submitting through the Q&A on the bottom center of your screen. I know many of you are familiar with Zoom, but for those that aren't, if you don't see the Q&A icon, move your cursor to the bottom of your screen and a menu bar should appear, which will include a Q&A box option. And if everyone could just write hello in the Q&A box, just to be sure we all know where it is and how that works. I'd also like to give you all an opportunity to ask questions throughout the presentation by unmuting yourselves. Lori wants to be sure that you get the most out of this presentation and that it is as interactive as possible. So in a moment, you will see a dialogue box appear on your screen. And as I unmute each of you, please click yes to unmute yourselves. And from there on out, you'll be able to mute and unmute yourselves using the microphone icon on the bottom left corner of your screen. And we ask that you keep yourself muted unless you are speaking to the group. The entire presentation will be recorded and you will receive a link explaining how you can view the presentation. If you have any audio, visual, or technical difficulties during the presentation, please let us know through the Q&A box. And now on to our main event. As I mentioned, Lori is the owner of Keystone Click, a strategic digital marketing agency in Milwaukee. Lori was the 2013 recipient of the Bravo Entrepreneur Award from BizTimes Media. She's an adjunct professor at UW Milwaukee and serves on the board of many local organizations and has been helping businesses market themselves online for nearly 20 years, which I have to call out. I can't believe that she is old enough to have been doing that, but she does have a particular focus on manufacturing. So she's going to really help us today. And that, let's begin. Lori, take it away.
All right, I am going to share my screen. So give me a second here. Let's see here. Can you see my screen? Let's see, 1 second. Oh, technology.
Yes, not seeing it right now.
Right.
Yet. There we go. Now we're good.
All right, you get the full deck?
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, welcome. I'm Lori Highby, CEO and founder of Keystone Click. As mentioned, I've got 20 years marketing experience, with the majority of that time being in the digital space, and a lot of it in the manufacturing space. So today I'll give a quick overview about who I am, my background. We're going to dive pretty deep into some of the biggest marketing mistakes that I've seen over the years, specifically in manufacturing. I'm going to talk a little bit about how business has changed, and then I realized I did not add some best practices, but we're going to talk through best practices while resolving some of these marketing challenges. And then, as mentioned, feel free to ask questions throughout the entire presentation, or you can save your questions for the end. So a little bit about Keystone Click. We are a strategic digital marketing agency. We help our clients build brand awareness and generate leads online. We do that by conducting research and collecting insights that allow us to plan and building a plan that's really focused on achieving our clients' goals. Our service offerings include websites, digital marketing, marketing automation, and media production. Now, Laura mentioned that I have a little bit of passion around manufacturing, and I just wanted to quickly share a little bit about that. So my dad worked in a tool and die shop in Chicago suburb for many years. I have a lot of memories visiting him when I was a kid in the late 80s. The smell of the metal shavings, watching the machines cut the metal with that milky white spray, and just seeing the end product always fascinated me. So over the years, he's always been in manufacturing. I've always been around it because of him. And it just stuck with me. I'm really passionate about helping manufacturers tell their story and maximize their message and help them continue to make awesome products in the world. So real quickly, if you find something or see something that's really impactful to you today, feel free to take a screenshot, post it on social media, and tag Keystone Click in it for an opportunity to win a book, which is a bunch of helpful insights from other marketing agency owners talking about the biggest marketing mistakes that they've ever seen. So let's talk about some of these. As I mentioned, I've been in this space for 20 years. I've worked with big Fortune 500 brands and small mom and pop tool and die shops. There's definitely a lot of trends that I've observed over the years. My goal is to help you minimize that. So I don't want you to just listen, but I really hope you take some action and look at implementing these things, especially as we try to make 2021 an amazing year. Now's the time to do some of this. Some of these things are simple and can be done fairly quickly. Others may require a little bit more work, but let's get started. First and foremost, one of the biggest mistakes that I see are manufacturers with their websites. There's really no clean flow or organization of the site. And a lot of what's being done is that they're simply talking about themselves. And they're not telling the story about the problem that they solve and who they solve it for. So this is one area right here. So this is what we do. This is simply just saying, these are the things that we can do. And then, hey, look at our shop floor. This is all that, look at all the cool things that are in our shop and all the machines that we have. And here's some more information like we've been around for this long. This is how many employees we have. This is how big our building is. A lot of times I see manufacturers simply talking about themselves when in reality, they should be focusing on a bigger story that's supporting the client. Now, this is one of my biggest pet peeves that I see a lot of manufacturers is just saying, look at our awesome building. Really, at the end of the day, what your clients care about is, can you do the job that it is that they need to be completed? They don't necessarily care about how big is your building, unless that is a critical factor and then making a decision as to you being able to fulfill that specific task. So let's take a look at this and figure out how can we fix the website. First and foremost, we have to answer the question, what problem do you solve? What is it that you can do that's ultimately going to be the solution to fixing someone's business? So what I did is I just, first off, found this random website. It's a tool and die company in California. And I read through it and I created a very concise, clear message. They do short and long run metal stamping with 6,000 pound capacity. The next question is, who is it that you can do this for? So they can do it for the aerospace, hardware, and medical industries. Very clear, concise, right to the point. Does not have any questions on, am I in the right place or am I in the wrong place? The next thing that's really important is to showcase the process or how you work. And the reason that's important is because oftentimes that's a question that's asked is, well, what's the experience going to be like working with you? So if you can answer that question up front and make it very clear and obvious what they can expect, you're making it easier for them to want to come and do business with you. The next thing here is, what proof do you have that you can actually do this? Now, proof is an extremely vital element when looking at your website. So you don't want to start with, this is how awesome we are. You want to showcase, this is what we do. This is how we do it. And here's the proof that we can actually do it. And that's in the form of testimonials, if you've received any awards, if you're a member of any associations, that's that trust. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in another mistake down the road. And the last thing is, okay, now that you've showed me this is what you do and you can solve the problem that I have, I'm confident in the process that you have to executing this or solving my problem. Because of the proof that you've provided, how do I get started and conduct business with you? So you want to make it very clear what that next step is that that site visitor needs to take in order to be doing business with you. So you can see by cleaning up the website and you're focusing right on the facts and the vitals, it just makes it a lot easier experience so that that site visitor can move forward and engage you to ultimately do some business with you. So you just have to remember that unfortunately, your website often is someone judging a book by its cover, and you want a nice, clean, polished website that is saying, this is how we conduct business with you in a nice, clean, uniform way. Okay, moving on to mistake number 2, which is email. So here's the deal. Your email list is definitely one of the most vital elements related to your digital marketing besides your website. And the reason why this is so important is because you can do a gazillion different things with it. And what I see is people are not, a lot of manufacturers are not building their lists. They're not keeping track of their clients or individuals that they've submitted quotes to. Maybe it wasn't a win today, but it could be a win a year down the road. Who knows? You need to nurture these opportunities. You have to stay in front of them. You have to remind them that you exist. The other thing I find a lot of manufacturers do is, this one client comes to us for this very specific process that we can execute, but they have no idea that we can also do X, Y, and Z. And the reason that is because you're not letting them know, you're not communicating, you're not nurturing them. So your email is more than just getting in someone's inbox. What you can do with your email list is upload this list to various social media channels such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you can use this to put ads in front of people. You can use this to target what's referred to as a lookalike audience. So let's say you have an email list of 3,000 customers. What that is going to do, what LinkedIn will say, it's going to look at all the demographics related to that email list. And now these social media channels have this information because we as social media users are just providing these insights. We tell them where we're working, what our job title is, what our education level is, what interests we have. So these social media channels are going to aggregate all of these data points around that email list that you've uploaded. And you can say, find other people that look just like this list and put my ads and messaging in front of that audience as well. It can be an extremely powerful tool to get your message in front of someone that hasn't heard it, but likely needs the offerings that you're providing. So one of the ways that you can continue to nurture that audience is by having a newsletter. This would be monthly, maybe it's quarterly, but what you're doing is you're reminding your audience, 1, that you exist, and 2, that you have some amazing offerings to provide. Case studies are great, and that helps to provide trust, any sort of testimonials, any sort of education you want to do. It's a fantastic way to stay in front of and nurture that audience. You really want to maximize the educational component. Right now, thought leadership is so important. There's data that states that when someone is in that buying decision-making process, it's usually the company, the salesperson or rep that is providing education first that is typically going to win that business. And what I mean by education is just helping them through that buying decision process by educating them on your process in conducting business or why they should go with solution X versus solution Y. Now let's talk about automation a little bit. Within your organizations, the equipment that you have, you're obviously looking to improve technologies and create efficiencies so that you can, maximize your revenues at the end of the day. You want a higher output at a lower cost to get that done. Well, automation in the marketing sense has improved significantly as well. And leveraging any sort of marketing automation tools, which ties directly to your email, can significantly increase your sales and lead gen opportunities. There's some data here from Anuadas Group that says businesses that use marketing automation to nurture prospects experience a 451% increase in qualified leads. Nurtured leads also make up 40% larger purchases than non-nurtured leads. Nurtured leads typically experience a 23% shorter sales cycle. So leveraging your email list and tying it into automation tools can help you grow your business. All right, we're going to go to credibility, which is that story about trust. So we spoke about this on the website, although your primary focus on your website really needs to be about your customer. You need to show them, though, that you are a trustworthy, credible source for them to be conducting business with. Now, most manufacturing companies that I've come across, and when I have the one-on-one conversations with them, they have amazing stories, and the products that they are creating, the problems that they are solving are just fascinating, but they're keeping these stories to themselves, and they're not doing a good job of blasting this to the world. So you need to find a way and not be afraid to show the positive experiences that you have. If you've won awards, any sort of accreditation, clients, any brands that you can be proud of, case studies, testimonials, all of these are great items to really highlight on your site, but also maximize that in your newsletters and social media and printed materials, just to really build trust. We've heard over the years, and this is still very true today, the way that you conduct business and generate these leads is people need to know you, like you, and trust you. And that is an important element that I often see missing on manufacturers' websites, and they're just not really doing a good job with that in anywhere they're getting that message out there. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about trust and how important this is. So I believe it's called the Edelman Trust Report. This is an annual report that they do around trust, where they're auditing and surveying a number of individuals. And most recently, they conducted this research related to coronavirus. And there's 4 key points that came to place. First and foremost, you have to show and talk about your safety factors. And I do see this as an error that is being made, regardless of how you feel about what's happening related to coronavirus. You still need to communicate to your potential clients, prospects, customers, how you are conducting business safely. So first and foremost, safety is important, and then trust is the next factor. So make sure you're showing up, you're playing that vital role in communicating these pieces of information. You definitely don't want to be acting alone. So if you can align yourself with others, that tends to elevate your brand. And what I mean by that is, do you have strategic partners, individuals or organizations that you can tie yourself to help elevate that brand? When you're focusing on any sort of business, you need to focus on solving the problem and less emphasis on just selling and trying to close the deal. But at the end of the day, high level of communication and education is a big factor in establishing and maintaining that trust with your brand. All right, we're going to move on to mistake number 4 right now, which is lack of distinction. And something that I see often is that whatever your vertical is, you're saying the exact same thing that your competition is. There's nothing that makes you stand out. And it's always, we have the cheapest solution. We're the fastest to get out there. We have the highest quality. There's no differentiator. You're just saying this is what we do and we're the best at it at this specific element. So let's talk about fixing that. There's an exercise that we do with our clients when we onboard them. We call it the XYZ strategy. And we fill in these blanks. We do X for Y so they can Z. So this exercise takes about an hour and a half as an exercise overall. But you can see I pulled this out of that screenshot from the last slide for the hydraulic cylinder company. So We manufacture high quality air and hydraulic cylinders. All cylinders are made from the same high quality components and used for over 40 years. We're located in Hartford, Wisconsin. So there's nothing in this statement that goes, oh my gosh, these guys are amazing. I definitely want to go do business with them. So let's craft this message, clean it up, really polish it up. And after we spent some time really digging into their business and we figured out how to finesse this message. So we changed it to, we build legacy pneumatics and innovative light sensor controls for forward-thinking disruptive companies so they can resolve and repeat integrative processes. Now, if you would read these, you would not know that this is the same company by any means. This organization, after we put this message out there on their website, we actually converted it to their trade show, the big banner behind their booth, and had some nice visuals. But at the end of the day, once we have this message out there, it's pulling the right type of people in. So if they're saying we work with forward-thinking disruptive companies, if you're a forward-thinking or disruptive company, or if you're an organization that says this is who I am, I want to see what these guys are about, you're getting drawn in and finding this is the organization that I want to be doing business with. So you have to have a powerful message, really clear and concise. It doesn't have to be this mega paragraph or book or pages upon pages. It needs to be short and sweet, get right to the point. It's going to draw in the right type of people. And the goal of this statement is so that when someone does see it and read it, they go, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm in the right space. All right, moving on to mistake number 5, not understanding the customer. A lot of times this happens, more times than I'd like to admit, unfortunately. But I see a lot of companies are just making assumptions because, this is how we've been doing business for the last 40 years. This is what they want. We can do this. We can build this product. We can drill this hole, whatever it is, bend this tool for anyone and everyone. They're just trying to be a resource to everyone. When you're making assumptions about your customers, I always like this statement. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. I mean, at the end of the day, that there's no winning there. So I've got a quick story. We had a client who we did a lot of research on behalf of them for their customers. And they thought at the end of the day, after hours of conversations with them and really digging into their business, they believed that their customers were buying from them because they were fast and they were cheap. Well, we got on the phone and had a number of conversations with a handful of customers that they selected and identified. But we found after conducting these interviews that the customers kept coming back to them because, one, they appreciated the high level of customer service that was being provided, and two, that they really appreciated and enjoyed the ideas that customer service team was bringing to them in order to just take their businesses to the next level. So for the longest time, their sales team was out there thinking it was all about how fast and what their pricing was, when in reality, their clients and customers were happy with them because of that customer experience and the ideas. So now we've completely repositioned their message and got them focusing on level of service and the ideas that they bring to the table to attract the right type of customers to their business. So how do you go about doing that? The first thing that I want to really encourage you to do is just walk in your customer's shoes a little bit. And this is as simple as experiencing what your services are like from your customer's perspective. Have you filled out the contact forms on your website? Have you called the office acting like a customer? Have you signed up for any newsletters or social media for your company? At the end of the day, I want you to ask, are you satisfied with the experience that is being provided from someone acting as though this is the first time that they've filled out your form, called the office, signed up for something on your site? You want to make sure that is a positive experience, because really that is kind of that first touch that they're having with potentially doing business with you. It needs to be an amazing experience to make them feel good about that potential of actually hiring you for, buying your business, whatever it is that you're delivering. Next, I'd highly recommend getting a third party to interview some of your customers. And you're going to find out a lot more information versus you going direct to them, because oftentimes when a third party is involved, they're going to be more open and honest and direct. Some of the questions that you might want to have this third party ask is, how did they end up finding you first off? Why are they buying from you? Why do they keep buying from you? What pains are you solving for them? Do they refer new business to you? Why or why not? Who are they trying to impress? Are they trying to impress their customers, their boss, their family, their peers? And ultimately, who's influencing their buying decision? Getting these answers direct from your customers through a third party can be extremely huge in helping to really focus on what is that message that we need to be conveying so that we're attracting the right type of clients or customers to our business. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the content that you're producing, whether it's on your website, in a printed newsletter, radio ads, online, social media, blogs, webinars, whatever it is, you want to make sure that whatever you're saying aligns with the pains that your very specific customer has. You don't want to try to solve all of the world's problems, because you're not going to solve any of them. If you speak to, we can solve this specific problem for this specific customer, type of customer, you're going to start attracting that type of customer to you. The next item here I want to talk about is ignoring SEO, which is search engine optimization. So that's really making sure that you are indeed getting found in the search engines. So I want to just say that what used to work 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, it's definitely changing significantly. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the deck here. This quick illustration that I have, this is actually coming direct from Google, related to B2B research or search activities on their search engines. So at the end of the day, in the B2B space, whenever anyone has any sort of challenge, typically they're starting their search by going to Google. This could be as just, how do I solve this problem? They're not looking for the solution. They're trying to solve a problem. Let's say the drill bits are too small. How do I drill a bigger hole, whatever it may be, or the material is changing in their product and then the current bits that they have and tooling they have isn't going to support that. So now they have to find, how do I drill in this titanium versus aluminum, whatever that could be. So they have a problem. They're just searching high level how to solve this. And then the next option is they've got options. Well, you have option A, option B, option C. So you're educating them on saying, these are some options that you have. They're watching videos. Everyone is watching videos nowadays to help educate and learn how to solve this problem. The 8 and 10 and 12, 8 and 10 are probably two of the most important ones I would look at. So 8 is we're reading reviews. Why is this important? As consumers, over the last, let's say 8 years now, we've been training ourselves to make buying decisions based on reviews. If you're buying something on Amazon, you look at the star rating and you read the reviews. If you're going to go on a Caribbean trip to Mexico and you want to get an all-inclusive, you look at the ratings and the reviews that other people have. If you're traveling for business and you're trying to find a restaurant to go eat at, you look at the ratings and the reviews of other people that have eaten at this restaurant. As consumers, we've been training ourselves to make buying decisions based on other people's experiences. And this has moved into the B2B space. This is why your ratings on Google My Business are so important. Oftentimes, depending on your industry, you may have some rating platforms. Extremely important to pay attention to those. The next thing then, number 10 here, is they're asking their network. They're going to their peers within their organizations. Who do you know that can solve this problem for me? So this is the journey that someone has on their buying decision-making process specific to B2B. The reason I share this with you is your goal is to show up at all stages of this journey. They're starting to get to know you because you're helping to educate on how to solve this problem that they have and what some of those options are. They're getting to like you because you're demonstrating it on videos, and they're starting to trust you because they're reading positive reviews and their peers in their network are advocating for you. This is an extremely vital component to the entire digital marketing process related to B2B. So how do we fix this? 100% make sure that your website is including any of the words in the language related to that problem. Not necessarily focusing on the solution. You have to focus on the problem that your ideal customer has that you are the solution for. It's because they're searching based on the problem that they have. Understand how your customers are searching for your offerings. And this is where that third-party research becomes very effective, because you're going and asking them, how do they find you? What is the problem that you're solving? You're understanding the words and the phrases that are being used to find how they're searching for the problem they have. 100% continuing to add educational content. And this is where a blog comes in, conducting webinars, podcasts, any sort of educational content to be a resource so that you are educating on why tooling option A is better than tooling option B. This is why if you're going to go buy a new phone, or you're going to buy a Samsung or an Apple phone, you go to Google, you type that in, there's a gazillion articles that show up because people are helping them through the buying decision process. An extremely important element right now is making sure your website is mobile friendly. And it is very important because more than 50% of searches are conducted on mobile devices right now. Again, they start with that, I have this challenge, let me find a solution for it. But the other reason why it's extremely important is because if your site is not mobile friendly, Google will not display your website results in their search engine, because their goal is to make sure that they have a positive search experience for those that are using their website. Okay, number 7. This is the last mistake, and we're talking to some how business has changed a little bit. So ignoring free online resources. At the end of the day, there's a ton of tools that are available online to help you maximize exposure online, social media being one of them. If you're a part of any association, such as TDMAW, more times than not, you will have the ability to fill out your profile online. Any area that you have a profile online, maximize that. Fill out on social media channels, fill out every single field that is available. This is going to help you to get found in the search engines and just get found online in general. And one of the most important ones that I see a lot of businesses missing, again, this is free, it's just your time to get this done, is maximizing Google My Business. So Google My Business, you can plug in a ton of information, your business hours, specifically any precautions that you're taking related to COVID, which is really helpful because it gives you more exposure on that search engine result page. You can list your products, services. You can add images, so you can showcase your work there. You can initiate a campaign to really get more people to write reviews about you. So the reason, if you think about this, if someone is searching for your business, the Google result page, that Google My Business listing takes up about 40% of the page real estate. So you want to own as much of that result page versus just having one listing show up somewhere on that page. Maximizing this tool. And at the end of the day, the more information that you are giving Google, the better that they can ultimately list you for what it is that you offer and do. So definitely take advantage of these resources. They are free to you. This does not cost you anything besides your time to fill out this information. Again, fill out every single field that's available. So let's talk about business a little bit. It's definitely changed. COVID-19 has forced B2B buyers and sellers to move into digital. I mean, I've read some articles that said it has expedited the speed of conducting business online by about 5 years, which is fascinating. So you don't want to be falling behind right now. So McKinsey, which is a research company, had conducted some research fairly recently. I think it was August that this information was published, related to decision makers' behaviors globally across industries in the B2B space since everything has started. So I've just got a couple slides I'll share on this. Oops, let me go back here. Oops, here we go. All right. So more than, I don't know why it keeps doing that. About roughly 70 to 80% of B2B decision makers prefer the remote human interaction. So that is like the video Zoom calls types activities. And that they feel more comfortable with this. On the bottom left there, it says what percentage are people are evaluating new suppliers, identifying new suppliers, where it's either remote or that self-serve. So just you have a website, ordering online, reordering online versus in person. So doing things remotely or digitally has definitely increased. And let's see, hopefully this doesn't just keep jumping around on me now. And it's going to keep doing that. I found this to be really fascinating that recently B2B buyers are increasing their comfort level on the dollar amount that is being spent remotely or through that self-service, such as like an e-commerce site for your product offerings. So historically, e-commerce has really been associated with like smaller ticket items, fast-moving parts. Not so much anymore. Really, 70% of B2B decision makers say that they're open to making new, fully self-serve or remote purchases in excess of $50,000. And that 27% would be spending more than $500,000. All right, so yeah, I did it again. This one here I think is also fascinating about the digital versus traditional. So video and live chat have seen a significant increase. Now pre-COVID, I was doing some research related to live chat and how it significantly increased the sales opportunities, huge upsell opportunities. It shortened that close time window. And since COVID, live chat and video conferencing has spiked significantly and is definitely something that is in greater demand now in the B2B space as opposed to pre-COVID. And the last one here that I want to share is just the buying behaviors and what's going to happen in the next 12 months and in the future. So this isn't necessarily just a short-term scenario. We're basically training ourselves to be conducting business for the long run. And when asked the question, how likely would they continue these buying decisions going forward? More than 89% here said somewhat likely and very likely. So these are things that are extremely important to take into consideration when you're looking at your sales practices throughout 2021 and further than that. So that's what I've got. A couple of things here I want to share. Keystone Click is currently in the early stages of conducting some market research. We're going to dive into the buying behaviors of manufacturers. So basically, we're looking at your customers and we want to understand how are they deciding to buy from you. So if you're interested in being a part of this national study, please drop your email in the chat and I'll send some additional information. And actually, I think Laura and I were talking about really partnering and getting some more insights out to just all the members and not just those in attendance here. last, I would like to offer, if you are interested in learning more about your website and how we can potentially improve it, we do offer a free website audit. It is, you're going to walk away with a ton of actionable items. You get 30 minutes with Will Jurgensen on my team. And it is a custom report created just for you. No obligation, no fee to do this. Just go to keystoneclick.com/Will. And you get to spend some time with him. I thoroughly promise you'll enjoy your time with him. Last, we have a couple of webinars coming up specifically around the topic of marketing automation, keystoneclick.com/webinars. And then that wraps it up. So happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Okay, Lori, thank you. That was great and quick, a lot of information to absorb.
Sure.
Cindy had a question earlier on, kind of pertaining to the beginning of your presentation about the automation tools that you were referring to.
Okay.
And she's asking if you could give some, explain exactly what you're talking about with the automation tools and maybe give some examples of a few
Sure.
of those.
Oh, that's great. So automation, there's a lot of ways to do that. So marketing automation, we're typically looking at a CRM system of some sorts, customer relationship management system. HubSpot, SharpSpring, let's see, there's a number of them that are out there. We're an advocate for SharpSpring specifically. You can use some tools such as MailChimp or Zoho to really, the goal is triggers will say someone visits your site and they click on a certain link. And if they're in their system, you can have an email that's automatically sent to them, just checking in or whatever it is. If someone's in your sales funnel, you can have emails automatically sent out based on how long they've been in the sales funnel. Say you haven't heard from them for 3 months, you can have an email automatically sent out saying, hey, it's been a little while, just want to check in, see how it's going. Can we do any more project work for you? Is there something new we can bid on for you? So that's really what marketing automation tools are. And actually that's what our webinar series at the moment. So next Thursday, we're going to be talking about marketing drip campaigns and lead scoring.
Okay, sounds good. I don't have other questions. Oh, here we have something else. With newsletters, etc., we have used these automation sites and our emails are so diluted. A lot of them are held up in spam. Is there any advice about that?
Sure. Actually, I just posted about this on my LinkedIn. It can get easy to get caught up in spam. One of the first things I would look at is what words are you using? So you want to avoid things such as free or buy it now, limited time offer. Those are some triggers that go right into spam right away. The other thing that you want to look at is the quality of your email list. And what I mean by that is, maybe you've got 1,000 names, but only 250 of them are actually active email addresses. You want to purge the email addresses that are either bouncing back or just not qualified individuals, because that's how you'll get labeled as spam, is if you have a really high rate of people not opening or it going into the someone's spam box, basically. So keeping a clean list is essential to minimizing going into a spam box.
Okay. If anyone else has any other questions, you can type your questions into the Q&A box. What are the keys to successful video? Okay, we have a question. What are the keys to a successful video?
Oh, that's a big open question. The typical marketing answer is it depends. But I would say quality lighting is going to be extremely important, and quality audio. If those two are off, you're going to lose interest right away. If they can't hear you or they can't see you, those would be the points. But get right to the point. If it's social media, 30, 45 seconds, short and sweet.
Short and sweet. And subtitles or?
Absolutely. Extremely important. Actually, the majority of videos watched on social media are muted. So really important to have, the subtitles, or there's a word for that. I forgot what it is.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Lori, thank you so much for all the information. Oh, I have another question. can we watch this video again from an archive afterward? Yes, I will be sending a link to the video. We've recorded the whole thing. So we'll be sending the video out to all of the attendees today, so you can watch it at your leisure just by clicking the link. Okay, you mentioned LinkedIn lists being submitted. Briefly, how is that done?
You have to do it through the advertising tool within LinkedIn. So when you're doing any sort of advertising, you have to first have a business account, and then you have your ads manager, and then you'd be doing that through your ads manager. But your list size does need to be a fairly significant size, just to be able to have enough information so that they can use their technology to say, this is what your audience looks like, and this is who we want to get in front of.
So by significant size, can you give us an idea of what size it would need to be?
Again, it's going to say it depends, because it depends on what type of advertising you're trying to do. If you're doing, if you're trying to reach certain job titles, then that's a little bit easier to get a little bit more closely defined on. But I've seen it, it depends on the audience too. I've seen it require about 50,000. I've also seen it require about 3,000 email addresses. So there's a lot of variables involved with that. Yeah.
Right. Do you pay for a business account on LinkedIn?
No, you pay for the ads.
You pay for the ads. Okay. And what is the normal price when you're paying for ads?
The answer, it depends. It depends on the audience, the size of the audience you're trying to reach. It depends on how many other people are competing for this space. It depends on what your goal is. So you can set up goals to be more brand awareness versus lead generation goals. But LinkedIn is probably one of the most expensive platforms, but the reason is because of the quality of the people and how you can be so laser focused on who it is that you want to get in front of there.
Yeah, you can really target it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions at the moment. I will share Lori's email address when I send out the link for the webinar. So if you have any questions that you think of after we wrap things up today, you can get a hold of Lori and get your questions answered. And Lori, we really thank you for sharing your expertise. I especially like the part in the beginning about the websites and really trying to answer the questions about what you can do for your customers, and not just, I think everyone kind of has a tendency to just talk about themselves on their website. So I thought that was really good information.
Good, thank you.
Oh, I did get one other question here. Is it better to advertise on LinkedIn or simply post?
I'm going to say it depends again. Really, what is the goal that you're trying to achieve? And that's something that we didn't talk about, but that is a big mistake, is I see people just randomly doing things just to do it without really knowing and understanding what is the goal. Personally, I'm more of an advocate of organic and posting, but that takes time. If you have an aggressive timeline and you really want to get your message in front of someone fast, then it makes sense to invest money to expedite, getting in front of that audience. But you still need to go through the process of building that brand awareness first, so that they get to know you, they get to like you, and then
through your posts.
Yep. Yes. Posts and ads. You can't just jump into paid ads with a lead gen and expecting great results. People want to have confidence in what it is, the company, the brand, the organization, the person that they're potentially doing business with. And that's where that brand, you have to start with brand awareness first.
Okay. Thoughts on buying Google ads?
I'm going to say it depends again. What we would do is look at your competition. So at Keystone Click, we're big advocates of conducting research. We want to understand your customer, which we talked a lot about today, but we also want to look at your competition. And if we find that the customer, yes, going to Google, they're conducting research there, but if it's extremely saturated place with all of your competitors, then it doesn't make sense. But if it's low-hanging fruit, not a lot of competition, but there's a lot of opportunity there, then it absolutely makes sense to buy some Google ads. Okay. I would say minimum spend you want to start with to see any traction is around $1,000 a month, though. You can't go cheap on any advertising platform. You can't just throw a couple $100 at it and hope something's going to happen. It takes time to analyze the data, to learn from it, to really maximize how you're going to generate the return on investment.
Right. Okay. Anything else, anybody? I keep starting to wrap up and then we get another question in here.
That's
so I wanna
okay.
Get everybody's questions answered if we can. But again, I just want to, just to be aware of everybody's time, we'll wrap things up here. But thank you to Lori. Thank you to our attendees. We will have our next webinar will be on December 15th, and we'll be talking about Wisconsin apprenticeship with the director of Wisconsin Apprenticeship Standards. So join us for that one. Put that on your calendar, 1 o'clock on Tuesday, December 15th. We thank you for joining us today. We hope you have a good and productive afternoon, and watch for your link for this webinar as well as Lori's email address. So thanks so much, everybody. Bye.